I'm Richard Doyle, the user group guy, here with my colleague, Mike, the professor. Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing really good. And it's so awesome to have Jon Hirschtick in the house with us in the podcast studio.
It is quite an honor. Yes, definitely.
Well, the honor's mine, gentlemen, because you have put together an incredible success with Innovators Insider. I'm so excited to see how the user community is watching and loving what you're doing. So I just want to thank you for that and tell you I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah. Thank you for that. It should be illegal to have this much fun.
Yeah. And they call it work.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. I joke around that I have the best job in CAD. Richard thinks he does. It's kind of a fight. So I told David Katzman he does. I tell everybody.
I have the best job. No one can convince me that I don't have the best job, especially now with my new job.
That's right.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Same place and team. Also, by the way, people are always asking, how's it going at PTC and all that? And here we are in this really beautiful professional podcast studio that we're able to use here at PTC. It's not the reason we were acquired by PTC, but it's one of just many great things about being here. It's an incredible facility here in Boston. And so I love this room. I'm glad we're able to use it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We were chit-chatting in the hallway earlier and, we were thinking, what kind of sums up like 2022? It's kind of coming to a close now. A lot of good stuff has happened in 2022 at Onshape, right?
I'd say the headline news for me is this was the biggest year ever for Onshape, the product. That's what it was this year. It was the biggest year ever. Now, every year we're working hard on Onshape, the product, but at the beginning of the year, that's what we said. Those of you out there who watched Onshape Live, who participated in Onshape Live, our annual online conference that we had for users, had outstanding attendance. And I understand this year's going to be bigger than better, coming up in March.
Yes.
So check that out. But anyway, in our online user conference, I gave an address in early 22 and I said, we're going to make it the biggest year ever for the product. And we did. And I could tell you why I say it's the biggest year ever, but it really was. We just found another gear and we did a bunch of things to set it up for a big year. It is a big year. And we have this incredible pipeline of great stuff that's coming, along here. So really, I'm really happy. Now, doesn't mean we're done. Users out there are going to say, oh, I want, we need more features. We need more performance. We need more. And we know that we're not done, but we're really proud of what we delivered this year. And so that was exciting.
Yeah. If I were to think of this as like a greatest hits album, right? Yeah. What would fill up that LP? It would probably be a double LP, right? This year, I mean, some bands, they'll have a single LP release every couple of years, but sometimes they'll do a double LP. It reminds me of like, this is like a double LP year for Onshape.
Double LP. Right. And we really did. And so many great things. And if I may, I'll just expand on it. Generally, you can organize almost everything we did along two dimensions of the product. One is what I call depth of product, which is where we already have functionality, like obviously in part modeling, curve modeling, surface modeling, solid operations, drawings, generally performance and UI improvement, PDM, data management, those areas, we had those all a year ago, but we've gotten deeper. We've added more in all those areas. Super exciting. That's what I consider depth. And then there's breadth expansions where we're adding new areas of the product. We launched in the past year Render Studio, big hit, right? I know the professor's a particular fan of Render Studio, right?
I love Render Studio.
Making renderings. I don't know if you've been quite the skilled artist, Richard.
I'm not to that point yet, but one of the other studios sure has me excited. I can't wait till you mention that one. So
is it PCB
Studio?
Okay.
Studio, and I haven't made it any secret to our listeners that I learned how to design printed circuit boards as an 18-year-old using Mylar and black tape. And unfortunately, I missed the whole computer generation when it came to that. But knowing Rob Lacey and interacting with some of his earlier products got me really excited about the whole thing again. And now with Rob coming back and with PCB Studio here, I can't get enough of it. So
it's great. Well, PCB Studio, so that's another breadth area. We just didn't have anything there, and now we've got this great great part of our product. So rendering, PCB Studio, simulation, which is taking off like a rocket to all you users out there who have done so many great simulations and have been posting about it online, social
the early
media.
Feedback has been incredible.
Seen some great things.
The feedback that I get is that people were able to use it like without knowing how to use it before, right? It was just there. There are buttons just there in your assembly, and you add a load and it works, and results just appear.
Yeah, it's right there in the assembly mode. It's the way we always wanted it. If we had just wanted another module to throw in the box, so to speak, well, we don't have a box, nor do we ship any software really, but to introduce the way some other products have worked, ones I've built in my past, we could have done that a long time ago. But we really want to do we really want to achieve a more ambitious goal with simulation and Onshape, and I feel we have, and so far user feedback indicates we have. Users are saying that they can get their simulations done in a fraction of the time that they are able to do it in say SolidWorks simulation. Just to be blunt, people know I built SolidWorks for many years. I founded and worked at SolidWorks, and we did a great job for 20 years ago, and now we know a lot more about how people use it, what we can do. We eliminated steps, and we made the steps that people still have to do faster. So, I just love it. There, you don't have to go to another mode. It's right in the assembly window. And you've covered it, but anyway, so simulation is exciting. And then let's not forget some other breadth items. We have the Arena PLM connection. We got some customers super excited about. We've just made it easier than ever to connect PLM and CAD and PDM with really just a few clicks. So that's super exciting. And everyone knows we acquired a CAM product. It's not shipping yet, but super exciting, cloud milling CAM. You may not know, Michael, Richard, I actually met with the cloud milling team in the UK last week. I was over there for Develop 3D Live, and I went to Birmingham, England, and I had a wonderful meeting to meet them face to face, Ryland and Michael Johnson, who you must have on the podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
There's an incredible, in addition to amazing, powerful CAM that is cloud native, really cloud native. So I know our Onshape longtime users, people who really love Onshape will be happy to know it's a true cloud native product. It's not, ported from a desktop thing, and it's got tons of CAM power. Wait till you see the machining simulation and so forth. Unbelievable power. All developed by this father-son team who have an incredible personal story, which I'm not going to go into here. I'm just going to say they are incredible people with an incredible personal story. So rendering, PCB, PLM connection, simulation, CAM. Did I miss something?
Those are the big
ticket items.
Yes, exactly.
So a huge year. We managed to do both. We expanded the breadth of what the product is and the depth, and we probably 50 to 100% increase in the rate of feature improvements in core modeling and drafting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you were to break it out, and we're going to do a webinar, I think I'll give it a little plug right now. Greg Brown and I are going to give a webinar on the greatest hits of 2022.
Oh, great.
Doing a little deep dive of some of these things. So a little plug for that. We'll stick a link to that webinar in the show notes here. But where was I going with this?
The greatest hits.
The greatest hits. Well, so some of the other greatest hits are things that might not even make the list. Like there's like you said, there's always improvements in performance and things under the hood that don't make it into that what's new for.
Yeah, don't make it in.
Right. So those things, are there. But some of my favorites, like AR view, to me.
Oh yeah.
To me, this is like one of those things that just changed life completely in the
augmented reality view. Yeah, it runs right in the Onshape mobile app. Yeah. Have you shown it in a podcast?
We've shown it on the podcast. I figured out a way to try to get it on the show.
Okay. All right. I won't bother, but it's right there.
But no, it's on your phone, right? You can definitely just use your phone, Android, iPhone, iPad, and and it's there as like a plate of glass, almost like between the
Are we
real world.
shipping
and
it on Android now?
It is on Android.
Oh,
as
it's
well.
shipping on Android. Okay, I didn't realize we'd really. I
didn't realize that at first too.
I hadn't either, and I'm an Android guy, so I can't wait to get back and
so
try
it's
it
not
out.
just me. We have so much going on around here in R&D, and of course, we see a lot of things long before they're released. And sometimes I have trouble remembering what's released and what's not. It's like the product version of trying to remember who I've seen in person lately and who I've only seen on video. During COVID, I'm like, wait, have I met you in person before? People are like, no, we've never met. I go, oh, I felt like I had, but it was on video, or vice versa. That'll happen. But so it's like that, like what's shipped and what hasn't, because we have a lot of cool things. We have a lot of cool things coming. Okay, everyone, that we're working on for you. I'm also, I have to say, I'm really proud of some of the little detailed things. And again, I know that we've got a lot of customers out there who are like, it's great to add PCB Studio. It's great to add rendering, but what about the little things like you're talking about? Sometimes it's just something like the changes we made in curvature visualization, the curvature combs. And I watched users at one of our customers show me directly what a pain it was for them. Even though we could display that curvature feedback, it went away when they were doing a crucial modeling step, and they had to go through a step, turn on again, goes away, turn on, go away, turn around, go away. And we fixed that for them, and more control over the curve, the details.
Bezier curves were also added to support, those curves. Types of beautiful blends that are required. Good curves are needed to create good surfaces. And
the curves, it was amazing. Again, I was at a customer, pretty well-known company. Everyone would know their products. They're very nicely styled. And one of their industrial designers just went nuts over the curve. We showed him a prototype of the curve stuff, which has now mostly been released, although we have more good stuff coming. And we've gotten to see internally here, and this is one of the fun things we can share with you, some of the stuff that's coming in surface creation. And we're super excited about it. And so are the customers we've shown it to, and we're going to get it out to you as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah. Number of surfacing improvements over the year for sure. And it keeps adding up. So I'm excited for that thing that's coming as well.
You got the big board up there. Oh yeah. We also shipped the mixed modeling this past year.
That's right.
And it's amazing how many times I'm seeing customers put up models with that. With mixed modeling, meaning you can mix mesh models and precise, what we consider B-wraps, generally NURB surfaces and things. Precise solids and surfaces can be mixed with mesh arbitrarily. So we're seeing that when people design I saw a model, someone showed me a really wild product someone's developing. That the video was sent to me. It was titled, this person, the designer's name is let's just say their name, say it was Joe. That's not their name, but I want to be very respectful. Someone said to me and said, Joe is indeed really crazy now, and showed me this product he's building. And I'll just say it involves a human. He brought in a mesh model of a human head and helmet and built something around that is just uber cool. And, the scan of the human head is mesh, and the thing he's making is definitely not. And it can fit together just beautifully. You don't have to do these messy conversions of mesh to nerves. Oh,
that's right. That's right.
No need to do that. So that was cool.
Yeah. An iOS only thing that did come out this year was the LiDAR scanning is winning. Yeah. So you can sort of do that process all in that one device, take a quick scan. Let's say you need to measure something and you need to get it to fit up. LiDAR scanning, the resolution isn't like really fine on it. So you would use it as like a reference object.
Now with the LiDAR scanning, great thing. Now I was talking about mixed modeling. I've seen customers really model with that. In fact, another customer showed an assembly, an industrial robotics application where they had hundreds of parts that they had used generative design on, and brought it in as meshes into the Onshape assembly. And that was cool. And then they go in and drill precise holes in it for things like bearings and stuff. That was super cool to see it. But with LiDAR, I've yet to see a real customer example. Have you?
I haven't seen a good example yet. Maybe that's a challenge for the people listening and watching.
Yeah, we want to hear about real use. It doesn't mean it's not happening thousands of times. It's just in my travels. I meet certain customers. I talk to certain customers. Sometimes they share their models or they're in a case study or video. And I just haven't run into it the way I've run into all the other things we've talked about so far.
Yeah. We would definitely like to get some feedback on that. So please comment.
LiDAR scanning users, let's, if you can talk about what you're doing, we'd love to hear it. But more and more, our advantages on our cloud platform being the only cloud native solution in the industry. Now I know that my competitors will say, everyone's doing cloud, and, just my position, my view is that we're the only cloud native solution that is like a real cloud thing. But cloud doesn't just mean browser. It also means we can run really well on mobile, tablets, phones, full editing and all that. The advantages of doing this are just multiplying as we go broad with multiple products. We're seeing customers using lots of applications they've built themselves because they can load in 10 different applications. Try doing that with installed software, and if you're not going to get to applications.
You're constrained by the local machine.
And also, just the complexity of what's compatible with what, and it gets brittle and breaks. But also the advantages on mobile, as these devices add more capabilities, we're able to take advantage of them in ways that other apps would find challenging.
Yeah, definitely.
Like our AR view, for those who don't know, competitors will have an AR viewer of a static file. Our AR viewer is of the live model. So you could put up an iPad and see a model, see your design in AR and be modeling on it, be editing it and seeing it change in real time. It's just a view of your live model. It's not a published of artifact last week's file and which file goes with which model and all that nonsense. That's old fashioned.
Exactly. So. It is. Yeah. Publications. That was another big thing that our customers really, were really excited about. Kind of like like we were talking earlier, the intersection of like the old school pack and go and a viewer like eDrawings or something like that, right? You're able to send somebody the exact state of what you want them to see, and they don't have to download anything, right? You have control as the person creating the publication over what they see, which is really nice, right?
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, a pack and go is really only for generally the whole assembly, right? You
totally.
You don't select it. One of the things our customers love in Onshape is that they're with our publications is they can say, look, I want this to go to everyone on the shop floor, but I only want them to see this subassembly and these 3 parts at this release state. And even a single Onshape document could contain other assemblies, other parts, a complete PDM history of versions and releases and all that, you can shield that. So it's much more powerful even than a pack and go. Totally. Of course, there's no copying, and boom, people get exactly what they want, because we're seeing Onshape customers finding that they expand the number of users that can get involved dramatically.
That's right.
Like we have a customer now that has over 1,000 monthly active users. That Richard and Michael know. It's a certain company has over 1,000 monthly active users. And I visited this customer a few months ago on site, one of their sites. They're all over the world, but I went to one of their sites and they said, John, we had with our prior CAD system, we had like 300 people who could directly use the CAD. Now we're at 1,000 and we might get to 2,000. They're like,
so why do you think that is? Why do you think it was able to, scale like that?
Well, I think, as it's, when you have a cloud native system, there's so little friction to adding a new user. You're not buying a special workstation and, getting a license code and downloading, installing stuff, hope it's the right version. And well, here's how you copy files. And well, wait a minute, we have an add-in. I need to install that too on your, and so you don't have to do any of that. It's just there. You send a link. And now with publications and our viewer capability, people get their own look at the data, at the CAD model that doesn't have to be the full CAD interface. And it's just there. It's just crazy easy.
Yeah.
I think that's the answer. And it's easy to provision the user. It's easy for them to use it. It's easy to feel you're secure. It's just easy. And all of a sudden people are like, I'll just take a look at the model myself. I don't have to go bother the CAD person. And publications was really something pushed by our customers who do the most of that.
Absolutely.
As you guys know, I'm probably talking a lot here, about what
this is why we had you on.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I realize, but that's why he had me here, right? Yeah,
that's right.
Richard, I know you're a big drawings fan.
I
right?
am, and you know we've been talking a lot about the breadth, but I'm a big fan of the depth. And you know, I started my career as a mechanical draftsman. I still to this day love to do drawings. I know that makes me a little unusual in the engineering world, but I absolutely love to put together drawings. And when I do a drawing, not only do I want it to be functional, but I also want it to be beautiful. So little things like table cell padding, so I can make my bill of materials look exactly the way I want it, or my revision blocks. You know, all of the additions all of the things that we've added now that have a style panel. You know, so you can customize and make your drawings look like they're your drawings instead of exactly like everybody else's, you know. So there's so many different options in the drawings that just excite me and get me to the point where I can create that kind of drawing that I want.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the first thing I actually, when I see the new stuff come out, I actually scroll down until I see drawing improvements.
Yeah.
And I read those first.
You know, actually we should talk to the guys who do the what's new, and we should put the drawing enhancements at the top.
There you
as
go.
a Richard
there you go.
special, because I got to tell you, Richard, as usual, you're representing the heart and soul of the customer, because I know a lot of customers are listening, like I said earlier, listening to us talking about, you know, cool new things like AR view or LiDAR scan. They're like, yeah, how about getting those drawing features I really need? And to those customers, you should know, like, probably the area we added the most percentage resource commitment. People, I hate calling them resources. We had the greatest increase in people focus is probably in drawings, even more than in modeling would be right up there. That's where we really double down.
The pie chart of all the improvements, drawings was the winner.
Drawings is the most area of improvement. So we hear you, and we're adding drawing features and performance improvement really fast. It was a huge year for drawings, and we're not done. You know, we know that.
And I think I may have mentioned it on a previous show, but you know, drawings are going to go away very soon. Someone told me in 1985.
Yeah, I know. like, do you remember that when people talked about the paperless office?
Yep.
So it was only when people started talking about the paperless office that they then started selling reams of paper at Walgreens. I remember when, you know, paper was sold at a paper store. Well, now you can go to a supermarket or Walgreens and buy these reams of paper because printers came along. People print more paper. No, drawings aren't going away anytime soon. And our customers out there know that we are pedal to the metal on drawings. We were able to recruit back someone who had retired, Bob Miner, fantastic engineer who I think I've known longer than anybody that is currently involved in Onshape. You know, the person
was he back in the computer vision days?
I've probably known Bob 40 years.
Wow.
No, back at the MIT CAD.
Before then. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay.
So anyway, Bob Miner, we got him out of retirement to come work on Onshape drawings, and he's really managing, right? The program. I think absolutely. We can say that.
Yeah, totally.
And so Bob's been, it's been great to have him back. We have some really talented people working literally around the world on this, and you know, so much to do for our customers.
But so much that's already gotten done. And,
2022
was a great year.
So 2022 was a great year. Yeah. Gosh, guys, I can't thank you enough again for having me here today to you know, I love talking about our product, and especially in the context of what it can do for our customers. And you guys, what you're doing with this podcast, I just think that the results speak for themselves when you see people watching your podcast in such numbers, you know, tens of thousands of viewers on some of your episodes. That's super impressive in an industry like ours.
And John, you have a podcast too, Masters of Engineering.
I do, but
I love your podcast.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I am a big fan of your podcast. You have some of the best guests that anybody could ask for. I remember one episode with Roni. Right?
Yeah, Roni.
Roni from Magic Leap fame and surgical robotic.
And he talked about meeting George Lucas of Star Wars. You know, there's that. I mean, on my podcast, someone who met George Lucas.
So there's all sorts of goodies available in John's podcast. So please,
thank you.
Like his podcast, subscribe to it. I'm a big fan. You should watch it.
Masters of Engineering, in my podcast called Masters of Engineering It's available on Spotify, on the Apple Podcast app, or wherever you get your podcasts. But what I do, a little different, you do some of this, but what I do exclusively is talk to people who build products, product developers, about things they build, how they build it, how they got into it, their techniques, and so forth. I think everyone from people who designed and made an innovative backpack, to styling the Corvette, to Roni, who made the Magic Leap 2, to someone did special effects construction for Star Trek and other movies. So really interesting group. We got some, so many cool things. I've got some cool people coming up too. So
cool.
Masters of Engineering.
Stay tuned and subscribe.
But I don't get the audience you guys get.
Well,
like, I'm just saying, fair is fair.
A little friendly competition is good.
And there's two of us, John. So
well, but users, when the users vote with their attention, their time, their money. In your case, no money, but their attention and time, and you've got a product that people like. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of them. Keep it coming.
Well, thanks for giving us this platform.
And
it's awesome.
We'll continue to do our best.
Yeah.
All right.
I think this was a great time. Thanks for sharing a few minutes, and definitely subscribe, look out for the live streams, and
post on social media how much you like Innovators Insider.
There you go. And don't forget our live streams too. Every time that new Onshape release comes out, typically the following day, we're on here live, and we invite you to join us in the chat, and we'll have a good time.
Why don't you do a live stream at the moment the next release goes live, like literally that moment?
Yeah, we gotta try that sometime
and do it live. Like refresh the browser, and then boom, it will be there, and you can walk through the features. That would be like a live squared stream. Live, and not a day later, because in Onshape time we don't have extra days and hours. We like real time. I'm just kind of saying that could be fun. Maybe I'll join you sometime.
Absolutely.
And if it's Sunday at 9 p.m., because sometimes that's when our releases go out. Sometimes you go out Tuesday at 3 p.m. Sometimes it's Sunday at 9 p.m. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
You let me know. I'll be there.
Absolutely. I'll send you a link.
We'll be the people doing the function key F5, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm totally would be. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, thanks again, John.
Thank you.
So good to have you.